Our program will begin shortly. Let us wait for more students to enter their Zoom classrooms. Please stand by. morning, everyone. We will now begin our program. Students, let us remember that we are in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Heavenly Father, all praise and thanksgiving be yours on this special day. We know that your love abounds for each of us, yet there are times when some forget or seem to not feel your presence that leads them to unjust and unfair treatment of others. May your healing love wash away all bitterness and hurts. We seek your grace for reconciliation and forgiveness. Grant your spirit of wisdom and knowledge to our speakers. Allow them to touch the hearts and minds of the audience, for them to be empowered to stand up for justice and dialogue. All this we ask through Jesus, our brother and Savior. Amen. Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, pray for us. To Jesus, through Mary, we give thanks. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let us all stand straight and place our right hand on our left chest as we sing the Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by the Eco School song.
Bayang magiliw, pero ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka lang magiliw, sa manlulupi, di ka masisingil, sa lahat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo kamang, ay ilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang Beloved school, your song we sing, your banner we raise high. Immaculate Conception will bring your spirit till we die. So lead us, make our life a mirror of your bounteous grace. We'll grow strong in times of strife by following your ways. Our life is true. You taught us what to do, and in our hearts your words will stay. We're wise and blue, immaculate for you. Our alma mater, ICAnited. Star of
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this virtual anti-bullying talk entitled ICAnited Against Bullying, brought to you by the Guidance Office and Pedia Pharma Foundation Philippines. I am Felicia Boniales from Grade 8 Refinement.
And I'm Rain Ong from Grade 11 Mercy.
It is our pleasure to be your host for today.
Before we get started with our talk, we just have a few reminders. If you have any questions during the talk, a link to the Google form will be provided to you by your respective advisors. Please go to this link and type your questions there. Questions should be clear and asked in a polite manner. Feel free to ask any time all throughout the talk. We will bring up some of your questions later during the Q&A portion, and all questions will be screened via Google Sheets. We have a moderator for the question and answer portion of the talk, and she is Ms. Gemma Ariola, our Grade 8 Guidance Counselor.
Lastly, make sure to stay until the end of the talk. With the help of your advisors, they will post the link for the online evaluation. Attendance will be checked and forwarded to the guidance office by your advisors after the talk.
Let us now begin. Fellow Econs, today, our talk is centered on how to develop a safe learning environment for everyone. We are in the second year of online distance learning, and we have been making use of an online learning management system and various applications as we continue to learn, communicate, cooperate, collaborate, and build relationships with others. We will focus on vital facts about bullying and how to prevent it. We are very fortunate to have our two speakers. One is a psychologist, a guidance head, and an advocate against bullying. The other is an alumna of ICA who will share with us her own experiences of being a bystander in a bullying situation when she was still a student. Both of them will help us be more mindful of how we relate with others and use positive words as we communicate with respect, kindness, and compassion. Felicia, would you like to introduce our guest speakers?
Our first guest speaker is Dr. Shayla Marie Hodgson. She is well known by her colleagues, friends, and subordinates as Doc Shake. She is currently the guidance director of the Far Eastern University of Manila and Makati. She is also an American Counseling Association branch leader, Development Council members, and she was the former president of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association. She is one of the volunteer speakers of Pedia Pharma Foundation, Phil Inc., that has ongoing programs that promote the general welfare of children. She has graced numerous speaking engagements, both local and abroad. By the way, this talk is in collaboration with Pedia Pharma Foundation, Philippines. The second speaker is Ms. Michaela Acero, is a graduating student of the Ateneo de Manila University. She is taking a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology minor in Economics. Among her co-curricular activities are Barefoot Philippines, where she is a Vice President for Community Relations. She is also a member of Ateneo Christian Life Community, Ateneo Environmental Science Society. She was the Flower Festival project head. When she was in ICA, she became the Vice President of Internal Campaigns and Services for 2 consecutive school years. Let us give a warm ICA welcome to our guest speakers for today, Doc Shake Hodgson and Ms. Michaela Acero.
Good morning, Doc Shake and Ms. Mika. I'm Rain Ong, and my partner is Felicia Boniales. We are the hosts for today's event.
Good morning, dear speakers. We would like to begin to tackle the topic we have today. It is about bullying and how to keep our school environment physical and virtual safe from bullying. Doc Shake, you are an advocate of anti-bullying. May we ask for some facts about it? Like, when did you begin being an advocate? Why did you choose it as your advocacy?
Yeah, so good morning, Felicia, and of course, Rain and Micah. Thank you so much for the invite of your of the ICA School, and great to be back in ICA Green Hills. And of course, special thanks to Ma'am Gemma for inviting me. And of course, I started my bullying advocacy as a silent advocate when I started becoming a counselor at the age of 20 years old. Okay? So I became a counselor at UST, and that time I really heard a lot, and of course I've handled a lot of cases of bullying, from the simple traditional bullying up to the extent of really now the cyberbullying cases that we have. And then in 2015, I was invited by a dear friend, Dean Wen Reyes of the the FEU guidance of the FEU Institute of Arts and Sciences, together with Mom Winnie, and of course our dear friends from the Pedopharma Foundation, who is advocating anti-bullying advocacy in the country. So we are providing anti-bullying advocacies in the country, before to the traditional and now to the webinar. And we've been giving a lot of kits, and of course a manual that can be given not only to the schools but also to the community, to the barangay. So that is really the major reason why I ventured, and I cannot close my eyes. There are a lot of people suffering because of bullying, and this can definitely give them a tendency to really go for some depression and some mental health concerns.
That's very interesting and very inspiring, Doc Shake. I wonder how you find the time to be involved in this advocacy. I know that you have many other involvements, as mentioned in the introduction, but what do you do exactly with Pedopharma, Doc Shake? Can you mention some of the activities that you do to carry out this mission?
Yeah, so of course, one of the things that I'm really doing for Pedopharma Foundation is to become a representative for child protection. So definitely, in order for you to really be credible, one of the things, the personal things that I'm doing is definitely to really start on my examples, to really be a model of really a good model, not to bully others, and of course, as a counselor, as a professor, and of course as a young parent of my two kids. And of course, the first thing that we did before giving a lot of talks is I've authored the No to Bullying Handbook that we have given for free in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And usually in every talks, we are also giving it for free. And of course, after that, we already created this campaign, active campaign that started in 2015 to 2021. And one of the things that we are also doing is we also have an FB page. We're in No to Bullying, just like our No to Bullying. And we have a lot of pub mats there. There are also a lot of students posting, school administrators. And of course, we have definitely an active campaign also to really the No to Bullying advocacy that we are doing. And our next direction is to also really venture into mental health advocacy, because we all know that anti-bullying is definitely connected to well-being. And at some time, we are also being asked for consultancy, a free consultancy for the anti-bullying program of every school. So that is what we are doing. And we also have some videos that we also made for anti-bullying advocacy.
Thank you very much, Doc Shake. And yes, you really are such a role model. Seeing where you came from first, it was such a starter, and now you're here. You're giving us a talk. What recommendations can you give for effective implementation of the anti-bullying program in different schools?
Yeah, of course. So what we are doing in a scientific basis for program development is really to really go for the needs assessment. So you really have to really get the evidence-based data. If there are really a lot of increasing cases of different types of bullying, and at the same time, if there are really a lot of cases, of course, we have to really go for prevention. And actually, I don't give an anti-bullying advocacy already, or a program or an intervention program for those who are bullies. So what we are giving in the university for those who are really bullies is more really on a character strength intervention program. So for those schools who have already some cases of bullying, so what you will do is really go for really promotion, awareness program, and prevention program. And I do hope that this is not just a one-time, big-time talk. And of course, I like your strategy that this is really more of a kwentuhan. wherein you really make a snackable one, okay, so that all the students can really be interested and can relate to it. And of course, we have Micah, no, your alumna, who will be giving the personal testimony. So this is one of the effective strategies that we are doing, storytelling and at the same time, testimony. And at the same time, if you implicate an anti-bullying advocacy, I do hope that you can definitely go for an all systems level approach. Okay, so you involve your administrators, you involve your teachers, your counselors, and all the people, so that no one will be left behind. And that is what we call all systems level approach. And I do hope, just like what we are doing now, this is also a multi-sectoral approach. So you invited our Pediapharma Foundation, and I always believe that the project won't be successful without collaboration. Okay? And of course, in making also a program, I do hope that it's also a multidisciplinary approach. It's not only the teacher, especially in school, who are doing your curriculum, your programs, but of course the involvement of the psychologists, the counselors, no? And even of course our parents as well. And of course our industry partners like Pediapharma Foundation, so that it will be more on a collaborative, and if you can give more to our dear students. And at the same time, I do hope that you can really create a sustainable program that is developmental and preventive rather than more on the treatment. Kasi pag treatment man, parang it's somewhat medyo, parang it's more of the really the fourth level of psychosocial support, which are more of the psychiatrists. So that's it.
Thank you again, Doc Shake. Everything you said, it was very inspiring, very motivating. And as you said a while ago, your mental health advocacy, I feel like that's really evident, well, more interesting in today, because with the whole pandemic, I feel like everyone needs a little support and a little help with mental health. And yeah, the advocacy would do great.
Yeah.
And as you said a while ago, collaboration is needed. I agree with you, Doc.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, one question. For those who have been or are currently being bullied, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, for me, if you were really bullied, no, definitely you really have to really cope up, no, and of course have the resiliency. Okay? And I have two major ingredients in order for you to be resilient in your mind, in your feelings, and of course in your actions and character. And one of that is what we call humility. I do hope that you can have the humility to ask for help. And you are not alone. Okay? Of course, your parents. And sometimes if you have some problems with your parents, I do hope that you can also talk to your class advisors. And of course, our experts also in mental health. Of course, our registered counselors in ICA. Okay? I do hope that you can also have what you call the bravery. That is also the one that we are advocating in FEU and of course in Pediapharma Foundation. That I do hope that you will be brave enough, to really go for really facing your problem. And I do hope that you won't go to blaming, but really facing your problem, to really not go. Of course, there are some instances that you will go for denial, but I do hope that acceptance will follow. So when you go for bravery, I do hope that you can confront your problem. And of course, you can cry, but at the same time, what you will do is to really go for some action plans. So if there are really cases that there's what you call bullying, first and foremost, what you will do is to validate if it is really bullying. And bullying, in the many evidence-based researches, is rooted from the powerful feeling of contempt. And when you go for powerful feeling of contempt, that is what you call the powerful feeling of dislike. And somewhat the product of that is insecurity. You hate that person. Okay? And at the same time, if there are what you call some intentional things that really motivates you, to really hurt someone because of that hurt and insecurity, and at the same time, there's what you call some somewhat the frequency that you hate the person, and it is already somewhat being implicated by physical and at the same time psychological risk. Okay? Then that is what you call bullying. So first and foremost, it is very important that You have to really know what bullying is all about, no? In the truest sense of the word, no? And it can be verbal and non-verbal. Okay? And of course, now also in the cyber, no? In the cyberspace, that we have a lot of bashings, we had a lot of online fights like flaming, and also different types of online bullying.
Okay, such amazing words. You're not alone. That's very heartwarming, especially coming from you. And I think we all could use bravery in these times. But anyways,
Yes.
thank you so much, Doc Shake. Your answers gave us a deeper understanding of bullying and the importance of not just awareness, but active involvement in addressing this issue of not just us, the students, but the whole school community to develop and keep a safe environment for everyone.
Thank you, Felicia.
So this time we'd like to talk to Achi Mika. So you're an econ, you're an alumna of ICA and have experienced high school life within the walls of the school, but for you it was obviously still a face-to-face encounter. May we ask for your experiences as high school student, particularly when you witnessed a bullying incident? So how did you feel during this time and what did you do?
Okay, hi everyone. Hi Rain, hi Felicia, and hi to all the econs. I missed being among econs in the eco setting. So I'm back today to just tell you guys a bit about myself also and where I am now and what it was like also to be an econ and to witness what I'm sure you guys have also witnessed in the past, like a bullying incident. So before I go into that though, I want to give a brief like background there of like who I am. I know a while ago I was introduced, but I just want to give a little bit more of context on what life is at the moment. So hi everyone. I'm Mika. I'm currently an Atenean studying for AB psychology, minoring in economics in Ateneo. So I'm a senior now. When I was in ICA, I was actually still like when Lorraine's batch was grade 7, I think. So I was a senior at that time, and now I'm a senior again. So parallels in life. Okay, anyway, I'm also an active member of ACLC and Barefoot Philippines. So I had to rewind a bit to get into the mindset of this talk. And I'm going back to high school, Mika, me with the graduation cap from Canva. So back then, I was an active member of the Econs Committee as actually the VP for my senior year and the AVP the year before that. So Rain, I think you're the AVP now. I was in your place also several years ago. So that means I was part of SE and I was also, of course, a classmate and a friend. So I'll stop sharing muna and just go back to making kwento with you guys. So just to begin, I had a classmate. Let's call her Kristen na lang, Kristen. And don't worry if you try stalking her, you won't find her because that's not her real name. So back then, Kristen and I were classmates in grade school. She and I were, we got a little bit close, and I realized that she faced a lot of difficulties at home. She didn't feel supported and loved most of the time. So me being the medyo goody two shoes grade schooler that I was, I tried to fix her. I told her, God loves you, your classmates, we love you, we're here for you. And I really thought that that would be enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and we gradually drifted. And of course, you can't naman fix another person. So fast forward to senior high, we became classmates once again. Things were similar. She was one of the people in the class who, always didn't have a group, no reply slips, would have so many random absences or tardies. And if you guys have a person that comes to mind, I hope you can be a bit more gentle in the way you view this person. And if you relate to the things I'm saying, I will go into that later on and assure you, as Doc Shake was saying a while ago, that you're not alone. So anyway, to us, our classmates, she was an outcast. We didn't outrightly bully her, but what is bullying her naman, diba? People would talk about her, we wouldn't really mind her, we just leave her be. I'm guilty of doing the same thing. To me, I felt like I tried to help her na before. So what could I do now? At the end of senior year, we found out that Kristen wouldn't march with us na at graduation. To this day, I'm not really sure what happened. Did she fail everything? Did she have incomplete requirements? Both? Either way, she had been removed from our graduating batch. Admittedly, she's one of the people we've generally lost touch with. I heard from former classmates that she's doing okay naman, and I really do pray that she is. So why am I telling you about this experience? Well, to be honest, I was asked, so I'm sharing it with you guys. But other than that, I just want to highlight that bullying doesn't have to be so in your face that like, oh, I'm like cursing at you, I'm like hating and like telling people how much you suck. But it can be something a little more quiet. Like us, we didn't mind her. But that was precisely what she needed at that time. She needed us to care for her. She needed an environment where she was safe and supported. And by doing the opposite and by also still spreading things about her, we weren't being good classmates. We weren't being that environment that was anti-bullying for her.
Thank you so much for sharing, Achimika. I feel like a lot of us also don't really realize that these incidents happen until we take a step back and look at them like in the full picture. So thank you so much for sharing about this. And I guess that this also led you to becoming an advocate for something like this, which I guess is also why you joined the Econs committee back during when you were in Econ. So you were an active student council vice president in high school. What were your learning experiences and learning moments during this time?
Okay, so I will actually go back to sharing screen again. I have another visual aid for you guys. So as you guys may be aware, there is a project in existence called the GEM movement. So I'll talk a bit more about this because yeah, it's part of what I'm going to talk about today. And I just want to come to your level with you guys. Just be honest, like what is this project? How did we go about it? And most importantly, what does it have to do with anything? So let's take a trip down memory lane once more. This is memory lane in my slide, like this line here. And we're going back to 2018. So here is a screenshot of the actual proposal that we submitted. And I have to admit, like going back and going through all of this, there's a lot of feelings that emerged. But most importantly, it reminded me of what it was like to be an econ and what it was like to have an anti-bullying campaign. So here's the rundown. The GEM movement is an anti-bullying campaign by the SE Econs Committee with the support of the High School Guidance Department. This is meant to emphasize one's value and uniqueness, so the gem was chosen as a symbol for this project. So in this project, we broke it down into three main gems or aspects. So the first one was women empowerment, the second one was positivity, and the third one was self-love. So if you're wondering, like, what do you mean three aspects? Like it's anti-bullying, right? Like, isn't that an aspect in itself? So I made this. Haha. To show you guys. So if Thanos is the big anti-bullying figure, the three aspects all play a role in anti-bullying. So, that's the power behind the anti-bullying or different aspects of it. So what did we do during these different aspects? For women empowerment, we actually created the CR crowns. So crowns with capital CR. Wow, funny. So these crowns were stuck on the mirrors in the CRs. And when people would come in to, make chica or to actually use the bathroom, you'd see a crown on your head. So wow, empowered, diba? Women empowerment. So it was such a small act, but there's meaning behind it, of course. And we wanted to uplift our fellow econs and remind them like you are powerful. Despite, every day being hard, you're a strong woman. Second, we had positivity. So this one, we took the same CR route and we had kilig quotes naman stuck on the CRs. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but there were some stalls that had like quotes that were supposed to make you feel kilig and, bring a little positivity into your life. We also had a positivity photo booth in the LLCAH. So we'd have like a giant tarp there, this colorful watercolor style tarp, and then you could bring your friends or anyone who made you smile. You could bring them there and take pictures with them, and it would just be like a very positive experience during your breaks. We also had a freedom wall of sorts. which was like a gratitude board. So each day of the week, you could input there what you were grateful for to make other people happy. But knowing us Econs naman, a lot of random things were also written. That's why it looks kind of messy. But yeah, it was fun. And then the last one, my personal favorite, was self-love. We had our DPs, and this is what my DP looked like. And in our captions, we put, I love myself because blank. So we also had a Feed Your Soul bowl in the LLCH where people could pass by and just get a quote there, and it was about self-love, and just carry it in your uniform pocket for the rest of the day. We also released this pub, which was the Anatomy of an Econ. So here we didn't emphasize like loving your body, which is still great, which is so important also, but we sort of focused on the functionality of your body, like your eyes, which see beautiful things, your nose, which can smell like very yummy scents, and your arms and your mouth and all of that. So this was what the GEM movement board looked like. We were tracking each aspect. So it was chronologically happening. So when this picture was taken, wala pa yung self-love, I think. Yeah, I think so. But yes, this is what the board looked like. So why am I telling you guys all of this? Well, yeah, again, I was asked. But more than that, it's because anti-bullying is more than just not bullying someone. I mean, I think we all grow up with the notion that anti-bullying, anti means no, bullying means bullying, so not bullying. But it's really more than that. Maybe it's not about not bullying, it's more about being kind. What if, again, in my kwento earlier, what if my classmates and I, instead of being an extension of Kristen's home life, became sources of refuge, of support? We were bystanders in that situation. And despite having things like the GEM movement, it doesn't really happen for everyone unless you tell yourself, you remind yourself of where you're at and where you are in terms of viewing other people. As a bystander, it's so passive. You're just standing there. You're just watching things unfold. So what if instead of being bystanders, we become stand-byers? Sounds funny, I know, but what if you actually physically make the effort to stand by other people? Stand by those who you don't see as following your norms. We can go as far as having these different campaigns, having these different cute ideas of, the CR crowns and the Feed Your Soul bowl. But at the end of the day, if you go back to your classroom and you continue like shunning the people who you perceive as outcasts, then nothing will happen, diba? There's nothing wrong with being different. Life is hard enough. You guys are going through online class. I am as well. We're going through such changes in our lives. And if you like still are mean to someone else, like what's the point, man? Like just be nice. You don't lose anything by just being a standby. So I hope that us as econs, even beyond your eco life, can build safe spaces for other people. Not everyone is confrontational. You don't have to say, hey, be quiet, that's mean. That's not nice to our classmate. You don't have to do that. I know that's awkward. I know that's kind of weird also. But what you can do is reach out to anyone who might need it, be available. And, if you feel like someone is feeling a little off, you can just PM them, No one needs to know. You can just PM them and be like, hey, I'm here lang naman if you want to talk. And sometimes, honestly, being there for someone can be enough. You can cultivate being approachable. If people think, oh, she's so busy with her life, she doesn't really want to talk to me, then I won't bother her na lang. Then, syempre, you have to also make that effort to show that you are there if you're available. But once again, if you felt like you related a bit more to like Kirsten in my story, it's okay. You can take part in these safe spaces that are being cultivated for you. You're not alone. You have the whole guidance department. They're all such nice people, I promise you. And you also have your fellow classmates who, if you get the vibe na they're approachable, safe space na rin sila. So yeah, that is it for like my visual aid, and I made kwento so much, but that is really what I wanted to bring to you guys today.
Thank you so much, Mika. I really remember that back when I was in grade 7, then I would like close the CR door and I would see the quotes. I was like, oh my gosh. So I think GEM was really one of the projects that I loved because it was so like cute, but then like it also like showed a lot of the values that we don't really talk about. So I really admired it, and I think that's also what pushed me to go for econs also as well. And so, with the GEM program and all these aspects, these activities, would you consider that the program was successful?
Thanks for that, Rain. It's so nice to hear that. For me, I felt like it was a success. Us in econs, we felt like we were doing something good, and people were telling us, similar to your experience. They're like, "Oh, I really like the crowns. I like the quotes." And I think with something as tricky as econs, it's internal campaigns and services. So you're literally campaigning things lang. It's not like you're like it's not tangible, like you're really trying to promote these econ values that get pushed under the rug in a way. So in terms of success, you gauge it through how much it touched other people, like if they enjoyed it, if they felt like they gained something from it. So for us, it was a success in that sense. Yes.
Thank you. And I'm really so glad that, you came up with this, because I feel like even, after you graduated, the GEM movement really evolved into something that's become like home, I guess, to the community as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
And so, even when we're online, what recommendations would you give for the effective implementation of the GEM movement this school year?
Okay. Well, I have to start with saying I can't take credit for making it up. Like it existed even when I was in econs. What we did lang was just change the aspects every year and kind of revamp it also. So, what I can recommend actually is to just listen to your fellow econs. At the time when you're deciding on the aspects, you're like, okay, women empowerment, like it's such a big deal now. Like it's one of those things that's coming to the rise, especially among econs. And of course, you can never have enough positivity movements. I know school gets so hard and pressuring that it's important to sort of take a step back and realize like my life is good. Like I'm happy and I want to be happy so that I can be there for other people also. But at the same time, like it shouldn't be the toxic positivity kind, which I think, is something I am still learning until now. And that was maybe a shortcoming in a way of like certain values in the past, the way we campaigned them. Like it could have been more touching to other people. So I guess what I'm trying to emphasize here is talk to your classmates, talk to your friends, ask them, what are you feeling now? How do you think a campaign can matter to you? And just go from there. Of course, the campaign is nothing if it's not relevant and if it's not applicable also to econs lives. So I would say that those are like very important.
Thank you so, so much, Achimika. It's been, something so special to have you come back to ICA, even if it's virtually, for this talk. And we're really so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you. Anytime.
Thank you so much, Doc Shake and Miss Mika Acero, for helping us understand more about bullying and how to develop a safe learning environment for all students. We were inspired to use positive words that will promote respect, kindness, and compassion among students and other members of the school community.
It is truly a fruitful morning, for we have learned so much from both of our speakers. So this time, we would like to call on our moderator, Ms. Gemma Ariola, for the question and answer portion.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doc Shike and Mika. Thank you for being here with us for this talk. How are you, Doc Shake?
Yeah, I'm fine. No, yeah.
Yeah, I was Doc Shake's student during my master's years, and I really enjoyed her class. I'm always having this very life, very fruitful life experiences and very fruitful sessions with her.
Yeah,
And Doc Shake, Mika was also my student. Like
this is a
Mika,
cycle of
di
life.
ba? Oo, Mika. It was, I think, in
Grade
grade
3.
6. Oh, it's
Oh,
grade
I
3, yes.
think.
I was
Or
a guidance
maybe
counselor in grade 2
4.
also. Hi, Mika. How are you?
I'm good. It was so nice to talk to the community again.
Okay, we are here now, to entertain or to share with you some of the questions of our student participants. Okay, maybe we can start with the first question. I think both of you can contribute to this. How to make people stop bullying? Maybe you've mentioned this earlier already, but maybe you can just give bullet points for this question. Yes, Doc Shake?
Yeah, sige. So thank you so much, Jem. And of course, great to see you again. Actually, Ma'am Gemma is one of my great students, no? Talagang very persevering and witty. And in line with your question, no? Very important that in order for you to prevent bullying, it's very important that yeah, first and foremost is that I do hope that you can handle your thoughts, okay? Your cognition, that can definitely be somewhat a trigger for us to really be the feeling and be the action and be the character. No? So I do hope that we can prevent hate, no? And I do hope that we can have really the perspective, no? The character strength of perspective and open-mindedness. Okay? Always remember when you see a person who is poor, always remember that not all poor people are lazy. No? They were victims of circumstances. Just like when you see your classmate, no? That they are struggling with their academics, especially now that we have a lot of somewhat difficulties and struggles in online learning. I do hope that you won't perceive them as really poor in academics. No? Okay? Because if you were a victim of abuses, no, or harassment, which are also forms of bullying, then definitely one of the major effects, no, is really a poor memory that can definitely really somewhat affect your academics. No? So not all who are really poor in academics are really poor. Okay? They had some negative experiences, maybe unfortunately at home, in the environment, and now in the online learning. And I do hope that in every people that you meet, I do hope that you can focus on the strengths of every people, okay? And even you focus on your strengths, you focus on the strengths of the people, no? And I do hope that you also focus on the strengths of the school, the community, and our country, okay? Because we all have a lot of really somewhat, no, a part to do. And one of that is really to spread, no, a lot of good cognition, good feeling, and of course, good character strength, of kindness, of humility, of self-control. Okay, so for example, in the online world, I do hope that in one of the concepts, no, and the models of digital citizenship and well-being pillar, no, I do hope that you use your technology, no, to really be an influence, a good influence, to enable and to inspire people, and not to go for side fishing, or not to go for over or somewhat oversharing. So you can definitely use your technology, but that right is not absolute, because there are people who can definitely be triggered by your negative posting. So always be an inspiration and an enabler when you also use technology, because that is the biggest platform that we can use, because we cannot go out. That's it. Thank you, Ma'am Ariola.
I completely agree with you, Doc Sheikh. No, I think it's high time for us to develop self-regulation. That when we think of something negative about other people, let us think back and try to be more understanding of the situation of that specific person, and that we highlight love and inspiration in our environment, especially in our school environment. How about you, Mika? What's your mind in this?
I agree with what Doc Shake was saying. And I think it's not always easy to just reel back in on those negative thoughts or the negative vibes also that you can put out into the world. So I think maybe a good way to start is to just be honest with yourself. So if you find that someone is really bothering you, then ask yourself, why? Why am I bothered by her? And if it's something like, oh, she's okay SP or something, then like ask yourself, okay, why? Why do you think she's like that? Maybe at home she wants more attention, but she doesn't receive it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe on your end as a classmate or as a friend, then just be like, okay, she wants attention and that's okay. Like, let her be quirky, let her be fun. I can also support her. And on my end, I can just be honest with myself, acknowledge that I don't like it, but I won't tell everyone that I don't like it. I won't go to my rant account and rant about it or post about it also. Like, as Miss Gemma and Doc Shake were saying, like, there is so much negativity already in the world. You don't need to add on pa. But if it feels like such a big jump naman to just go from hating on someone and then being super positive, then it's okay. You can take it slow. Just start now with being honest and trying to like, yeah, hold off na lang on sharing too much negativity with other people.
Yes, Mika, no, asking oneself, no, those questions can build on understanding, and in reflecting, we can reach out more to that particular person who is really in need of our help. Okay, I think the next question is good also. Do you think past bullying experiences can affect how you can behave, even if the bullying happened for a short time? If so, how can you cope with it? Doc Shake, would you like to
Yeah.
answer?
So of course, it really depends, no? That's why it's very important that you really have really competent and registered counselors in your respective schools, because really processing is definitely one of the really the first aid, no? That's why we have psychological first aid, because if you cannot be processed, no? Usually ideally that's 72 hours, then there will be really be a trigger of trauma, and it can lead even to a 1 month to 30 days to 3 to 6 months. It can really lead to a post-traumatic stress disorder. No? So that's why I do hope that even you don't have your counselor, just in case, worst scenario, no? Because of course, your counselors are not really available naman for 24 hours because they also have a life to go to. But if you have a confidant with you, like if you trust your parents, no, you have really great friends to anchor with you. So for me, my unsolicited advice is, of course, number one is to really go for your first line of defense. No, so your first line of defense can be your parents, no, and just in case that there's a problem with the family, then maybe you can have your relative with you, your godparents. Of course, the third line of defense can be your teachers and counselors, no, and of course, the fifth one can be your true friends, no, who will be always be there through thick and thin. So always remember that a human being is a social being, and one of the things that you really need to do to really cope is to really talk it out. No? And I do hope not into ranting, no, because when you rant, no, there will be more bullying that can happen because you cannot really handle the mindsets of the people. Okay, so I do hope that yeah. So only go for the people that you trust. Okay? And one of the things is really to really talk it out. But at the same time, afterwards, you can also develop your self-care. Okay, like if I may suggest, you can have a self-care 3 only, no, for the mind, the body, and the spirit. Okay? So for example, early in the morning, you can go for your body, maybe for an exercise. No? Okay? Maybe for the mind, you can go for mindfulness or healthy music. And maybe for the soul, maybe one of the things is really connection, even only online. Or if you have a supreme God with you, okay, your God, your Allah, or if you came from other religion. So I hope that you can develop your self-care, and at the same time, you can definitely put a commitment. And if there are really small wins, then of course be happy about it. And if there are no small wins, then of course, you can eradicate that plan and really replace it and recalibrate it, especially at this time. And I think one of the things that I can also give you is my favorite well-being app is Fabulous.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a free Fabulous app, and most of my friends, psychologists, psychiatrists, they're also into Calm application. Okay? Wherein there are some meditative activities. If you cannot sleep because of the trauma, then there are sleeping activities there, healthy music, and there's also a free assessment.
I like to do that fabulous. I would like to check that
Maybe
out.
you can check it out. Yeah.
Yes,
There's
and of
also
course,
a daily inspiration as well.
oh, that's good. I think we can promote that with our students. But you know, Doc Shek, we exercise mindfulness. We have the EM
Yeah.
routine in which we do the deep breathing for 2 minutes, and we do have EM reflections in which we
Yeah.
allow all of our students to give their knowledge, to give their sharing, no, with to a specific question.
Oh, that's great to hear, Ma'am Gemma. And I think I can remember that my last talk with you, aside from the bullying in the traditional setup, is the mindfulness. No, for
Yes, that
Ika,
was
for Savior, Lasal and
That was the leadership program po when I was in
yeah.
grade 6 also.
Yeah, that's it.
Opo.
It's somewhat a
Yes.
soiree, no? It's somewhat an
Yes.
interactive activity.
Okay, yes, to. Mika, how
Uh,
about you, Mika?
yes, I love that. The app recommendations. I'll also check it out. I have friends who also use Headspace, the
Yeah,
app.
the Headspace is also
Yeah.
one, but the top three are usually the Headspace, the Fabulous, and of course the Calm for the global application.
That's cool. I just like to add to what Miss Gemma was asking earlier. I do think that a small incident can impact you for a long time. And it could also happen without you realizing it. So in college now, I'm taking up psych and I love psych. Like I get to learn so much about the world, but also about myself. And I was talking with a lot of my econ friends, like maybe a year ago. So we're already pretty well into college. And we were just talking about like how Ika was for us, and even how grade school, like as far back as grade school. And we realized, parang we've all had experiences of being a bully, also a victim, and also a bystander. And I don't know, like it became part of what our past experiences were. And some of us, and myself included, still find myself reflecting on certain incidents that has happened na like years ago. So, in that sense, I think it's a call to be very careful also with the things we do towards other people, because there are things that, I can go here and talk about being a bystander, but it's another story to talk about having experienced it and also to be the one perpetuating that kind of negativity. And, again, it starts with being honest with yourself. And also, I'm learning recently to be very accepting of yourself and be forgiving, to understand also that just because it happened to you doesn't mean that for the rest of your life it will be a cycle. Like you can also break that cycle. You can also take steps as Doc Shake and even ma'am, like Miss Gemma, sorry ma'am. I got used to college. We call each other ma'am there. But yeah, it's like you can take steps forward instead of always regressing back and being stuck in the past. So there's hope, guys.
I agree with you, Mika. There is hope. Now let's go to the third question. I think Doc Shake can answer this. How would you differentiate teasing and from bullying?
Yeah, actually, teasing is one of the forms of bullying. No, when you really go for name calling, no, you call your classmates as Peppa. You call your classmates as somewhat really negative words. No, so that can really be a form. No? Name calling can really be a form of bullying. And of course, in the 2018 law that we have, which is what they call the safe space. Okay? So if you are teasing other people or really having them or really going for name calling, that is also a violation of the Safe Space Act. No? Not only in the traditional, but in the 2018, it was also covered by the online platform. Yeah, so that I do hope that if you cannot say anything that is good, just be quiet, or maybe even in posting, I do hope that you just have to be quiet.
As Doc Shake, it's better not to say anything, especially when you're already upset or frustrated or even angry.
Or maybe avoid social media if you're really angry, no? Because always remember that negative words can really attack your heart, no? And that heart that can be attacked can be imprinted in the mind of the people, and that can make or break their life.
Yes, you can never tell the negative or the damage that it gives to the recipient of that negative word, right?
Yeah, of course, it also depends on the personality of the individual. Not all people can accept teasing and joke, no? Sometimes they act as a comedian in your class, no? But at the same time, when they go home, somewhat it attacks them, no? And they ask themselves, am I really a Peppa? Am I really ugly? Am I really fat? No? And then sadness, loneliness can come, and maybe depression can come as well.
And that, I think, is the worst scenario that may happen to someone who has been name called, right?
Yeah.
That depression. Okay, the next question. What are concrete ways we can convince or teach bullies that they should be concerned about their actions? Bullies may often not care. So how can we help them do so?
Yeah. So I
Yes,
will be
it's
the one
your,
to answer. Oh, sige,
yes,
sige.
okay.
It's Micah. Sige, sige. So actually, one of the things that I'm really doing, especially in counseling, is really value clarification. Okay? And it's more on really developing the empathy. Okay? So for example, in a case of bullying, in my work in the FEU now, so what we are doing is if there are really bullying cases, it's not just the first protocol is not really the guidance office, no? But the first protocol is the discipline office. And the discipline officer, our lawyer, no, we have a lawyer head of the discipline office, and there are discipline officers. So what they will do is they will first investigate the case and validate if it is really bullying. And if it is really bullying, then the second protocol is that the discipline officer will refer the student, no, to the guidance office for processing. So we are not really on investigation. That's not our work, no, but it's really more on the processing. So what will I ask is, in the case, no, of the bullying, which was validated by the discipline officers at the office, what is the advantage of what you did? For example, to Mika. For example, Ma'am Gemma bullied Mika. No? So what are the advantages of the bullying case that you did to Mika? And what are the disadvantages? So we have, in the traditional way, we really have a form for that. No? But now it is also online. So before they go to counseling, they have to fill out that first form. And then after that, will come for counseling. Okay? So what are the advantages of that bullying case? What are the disadvantages? No? And then you have to really what? No? So you have to really let them evaluate what are the advantages and the disadvantage of that case. And what is the decision? Okay? And what is now your decision? Do you want to change? Do you want to make an action plan? And the last part will be action plan. Okay? So the solution will definitely not be coming from the counselor, but it's really empowering the person to really know what is right and wrong, no? And to really have the insight, no, of the case, and at the same time go for action plan and having a commitment to do that action plan. And of course, monitoring will come afterwards.
With your procedure, Doc Shake, no, I think you concretely process the bullying incident, and you process the minds and the emotions of the person, of the bully, or even the victim.
Yeah,
and it's a complete it's a complete package in a way, right? Because
yeah.
you also have monitoring after.
Yeah,
But
because
I think it's a very effective strategy.
yeah, because the misconception is that when you're bullied, no, you have to be sent to the guidance office. No, so that's not really the right way. That's not really the ethical one, because we are not the person who will definitely investigate. We are not investigator. It's more of the turf of the discipline, so that when they come, they were really what? Are they really a bully or not?
In ICA, Doc, we also have the grade level coordinators, just like on your part. No, they're the ones investigating if what really happened was a bullying incident.
Yeah, that's great.
And
That's
then
great.
they,
And of course, of course, I love ICA. No, you have all the services and the procedures.
Yes, Doc Shake. But maybe we can learn from you more about more concrete strategies and procedures for that. Mika, do you have an answer for this question?
None. That was nice to listen to.
Okay. Thanks,
you,
Mika.
Wait, next question na kay Mika.
Next question daw kay Mika daw to. Okay. How do you help someone who is being bullied if that person doesn't want your help?
Honestly, very honestly, if they don't want your help, then there's nothing you can do. I think, as me myself, like that friend of mine, there was a lot of heartache that went into that. As a grade schooler, I couldn't understand why parang I was trying to help her nga, but she wasn't responding. Like she didn't appreciate my gestures. And then, like I learned the hard way also. My mom was like, oh, you can't help everyone. And I was like, but why? Like, I know I can if I set my mind to it, but it's not up to you. It's not up to you. Which is why I appreciate what Doc Shake was saying also. There are procedures to go about this because it's not like one individual can always be the one to shoulder everything and can always help in every situation. So I guess like a way to go about this is to approach their friends, ask them like, oh, do you think that there's another way we could help this person? Or do you think that if we tell the guidance about her, do you think that will be helpful or will it not be? Like, and also just be honest with that person. Like, I'm trying to help you, but I understand you may not want my help. So just let me know when you do. Like, I'm here now, like that.
Yes, Mika, just making sure that you have reached out to that person, no, even though she doesn't like your help, but maybe she will realize that with whatever that you have given her and the attention that you have given her, she will feel better and she will do something about what happened. Okay, now here, aba medyo ano po tong question na to. Will we have
Masyadong mahirap.
kasi po nakalagay po ito. So this is one of the interests of our students, no? Doc Shik, will we have bullying rules against LGBTQ+? I think encompassing naman po ang ating di ba, anti-bullying program in any school, Doc Shik?
Yeah, of course. Now the evolution of the anti-bullying policy is also more on inclusion now, no? So it's also really respecting the diversity of people, and it's also being covered now with the Safe Space Act, that we really go for gender and development. And I think most of the schools have programs for gender and development, wherein this can also be embedded in your anti-bullying advocacy. And most of actually in FEU, what we are doing is we have the anti-bullying core group, and this is an organization under guidance office, aside from the peer counseling and the drug abuse prevention core group. And we also have officers for that. And some of the modules that we are having based on the needs assessment, because we have the gender desk as well. So it's all about inclusion. So we definitely respect that.
How about in universities like Ateneo, Mika? Are you aware of the anti-bullying program in your school? Can you tell us something about it?
Yes, well, we actually do have a lot of these offices also in place. They work closely with the Gender Hub in Ateneo, and I do have psych profs who are very active there as well. I agree with Doc Shake, like the orientation is towards inclusion rather than like addressing specifically certain incidents. It's like all encompassing that we have to create these like safe spaces for everyone to feel included. So I think that in that sense, the same principles of anti-bullying in terms of being kind, being open, also apply, especially when taking care of your friends who may be part of the LGBTQ plus community, or you yourself as well, to be very accepting and open.
Okay. Since we have been in the ODL, no, online distance learning, what are your tips for the solution of bullying during the online distance learning or online classes? Maybe more about how can we prevent cyberbullying during this online distance learning?
Yeah, for me, actually, in the UNICEF model, there's what you call the digital citizenship and well-being pillars. No? And I do hope that we can also educate our students regarding that. No? And part of that is really the digital well-being ethics that we really need to do. And I think for most schools like ICA, no, because my son is in one also of the schools in Quezon City, no, and even in the university, this digital netizenship and well-being pillars are also being integrated in the handbook, and of course integrated in the curriculum. No? And of course in the homeroom guidance, this is also one of the big chunk of modules that we really also need to focus to really also develop the soft skills of the individual and not only on the traditional. Okay, but of course in the online learning, the best example are your teachers. And I do hope, of course, I think we all have competent teachers in ICA and they have all the values. And I do hope that always remember that the teachers, the parents, even the parents, we also have to teach them. Actually, I gave a talk recently also in the Savior schools now for this digital citizenship and well-being pillars. And it's very important that the parents and the teachers who are the second parent, that they are the absolute truth of their students and their children. And if they are not really practicing that ethics, then what more for the students and the children? No? So I do hope that, yeah, okay. And of course, I think for a sustainable development, not only for the examples, but really integrated in the curriculum.
Yes, I think I do agree with you, Doc Shake. When it comes to bullying, it should be integrated in the curriculum, and also it should be a collaborative effort of the entire school community, along with the parents, no, as our stakeholders. How about you, Mika? Do you have an answer here?
Yes, I think I'd just like to reiterate also what I mentioned earlier about how, yeah, like posting on your accounts, especially during this time, just think of it as the only way that other people are seeing you now is through your online presence. So you have to be a little a little more careful with the way that your words can be misconstrued and your opinions may spread also. So like it's more important to be aware that your words through a screen or your words through message can impact someone's the rest of their day, because they're all going to be like, someone could be fixated on it for the rest of their day at home because your world is so confined to this online space. So I think being aware that there's less of a divide now between life away from the screen and who you are on this online space as well, it makes us become more careful.
Yes, just like what you said earlier, self-honesty and just being aware and sensitive to others can be the key so that we can overcome this problem with bullying. Another question. Actually, there are so many questions, but maybe we can still answer 3 more questions. How do you not shun people on a virtual setup? For example, if someone says something incorrect to another person, the incorrect person usually is then shunned really badly, which just perpetrates the cycle of bullying. So how do you address that?
Yeah. Ako, for me, if you are really close to the person, maybe you can definitely secretly message or PM the person if you can talk to that person. And one of the things, of course, if you are really a true friend, you are definitely concerned to your classmate if there are really cases like that. So of course you won't tolerate that. And what will I say is that I'll be using a communication wherein, of course, I will first say hi to my friend. Hi dear, how are you, Gemma? And then, of course, after that, building rapport, I will tell some of my observations. Gemma, I do hope that you won't be somewhat don't get me wrong about this, but I'm really concerned about you, and share your observations so that the person cannot deny it. And at the same time, you share your feeling as a true friend. Okay? So, you know what, Gemma, what you did to Micah is somewhat, I really felt off with that, no? And I'm really concerned about you. No? And I think I've also seen the reaction, the negative reaction of Micah. And I also heard that she was somewhat affected by your comment. And at the same time, after that is you express your need and you express that request to a person. So it's more of a mere accountability to that person. That's why I do hope that we speak out and give concern to other people and not just be a bystander. Because becoming a bystander is also bullying as well.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you, Doc Shake. So we need to speak out, and we need to also be very honest in reaching out to the people whom you've witnessed as being bullied, or you've witnessed as being the bully as well.
Yeah, Jem. And of course, you can only do so much, but I do hope that you've done something.
Okay, Mika?
Super agree with what Doc Shake was saying. And I think another thing that's relevant, especially now, we all get so obsessed with like cancel culture. And I'm sure us econs, I can't see you guys, but I know like you know what I'm talking about. Like cancel culture, when you like, again, it happens with influencers, celebrities. But I guess if you take a step back, you realize it can happen also among our spaces. So the problem with cancel culture is that you're not allowing the person to change or to even grow, and you're not trying to understand them as well. So I think given that, you guys are all like same age, you're classmates, you're all in ICA. Like in that sense, your own community is the same one. So why would you cancel someone from out of it? You know what I mean? It's like what Doc Shake was saying. You can reach out to them privately. You don't have to make it such a big bombacious thing that like, oh, this person was so rude. We are all not standing for rudeness, so we won't talk to her. It's more layered than that. Maybe you can ask also her like, oh, did we misunderstand you? Did you mean something else by it? And if you did misunderstand her, then apologize also like, oh, we're sorry we reacted this way. We thought you were being rude and that's our fault. But it goes back to the fact na you're all in this together in reality, and there's really no point in outcasting someone because of a mistake that you believe they cannot recover from. Like everyone, I believe, can really recover naman from things that they did wrong as long as you're honest and humble, as Doc Shake also mentioned earlier. You're honest, humble, and very like open to change as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Micah, cancellation is also somewhat a bullying, no? Because rejection.
It is in a way. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yes, I agree with you. And another question. Uh, what should I do? This is the student asking, no? What should I do when people say hateful stuff about me? Mika,
Yeah.
would you like to be the first?
Oh, sige, Mika.
Okay. First of all, I'm very sorry if you're going through that right now. I'm sure it sucks. So, virtual hug. I think that a way to go about this is what Doc Shake was talking about earlier. You're going to people that you trust. So if you have your family members, personally, I'm close with my sister, so I would also tell my sister these things and just get their insight. Also, maybe they think I should talk to that person directly. Maybe they also think I should not and just like leave it be or something. But I think other than your family, given that they're your immediate sphere of comfort at home, you can also turn to your friends or even to the guidance. Miss Versosa was actually my guidance counselor for like the last 2 years of school. And it was so stressful, such a stressful time, you know, college applications. And I got into certain arguments also that I didn't know how to process on my own. And I just told her, I was like, oh, sure, like this happened and I don't know what to do. And she was there to listen to me also and to like give advice. And I think that, you know, some of us can be shy with approaching teachers, but certain teachers, specifically our guidance, they're really there just so that they can listen to you and be there for you. So as much as possible, if you're undergoing something like this and you don't feel like you have anyone to turn to, just think about your guidance counselors or even your advisors or your other teachers. Yeah.
Mika, thank you for promoting us.
I
Actually,
really
have-
feel it.
We
I
will have
really
a lot
do,
of
sir. I really
counsellors.
we make ourselves very visible nowadays.
do. Yes. You're all
Yes,
so
yes, please
nice.
come to us. Yes, Doc Shek. Thank you, Mika, for that.
Yeah, ako for me is that you have first to also go for self-awareness, no? So what are really the reasons, no, for your friends telling you like that, no? Okay? And of course, there are really instances kasi that somewhat if there are people who's telling you something negative, no, you have to also be aware, no? And at the same time recalibrate of yourself if there are really faults that are happening, no? And yeah, the courage and the bravery to really accept if there are really something wrong, and really also the bravery to do something about it. But at the same time, if it is not right, no, and it's not really correct, no, with the perception, okay, so what you will do is also to, aside from talking to someone that you trust, no, so that you can also somewhat process your feelings, and at the same time give some comfort, no, when they listen to you, or if you want their advice as well, if you ask for advice, what you will also do is to also be vigilant, no, to also collect all the evidences, no, and at the same time, if there are really instances that really enough is enough, no, and there are really a lot of effects with you, and yeah, of course you have to complain it to your discipline office as well. And at the same time, go for your counseling so that you will also somewhat really regain your psychological powers and sanity as well.
Thank you, Doc Shake. Doc Shake, this question is for you, the last
yes.
question for the day. And this knocks into your being a guidance counselor yourself.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to those who are afraid to reach out to other people? Example, those who are hesitant due to fear of being a burden to others.
Yeah, for me is that I think there's no reason to be afraid if your hearts are pure. No? So just go to your heart, no? Okay? And there's, yeah, so have your pure heart, no? And of course, have a growth mindset. No? Really have a mindset that is really open, no? And I do hope that it's also for your peace of mind and well-being as well. No? If you really ask for help, especially if this really somewhat, no, it really affects you as a person already. Your academics, your relationship with people, somewhat you are already somewhat posting dark posting already. Then there's something wrong already. So before it's too late, I do hope that you also have the humility, and at the same time in the future you carry that professional humility, and you will never go wrong. And of course, the bravery to confront your problem.
Chimika, how about you?
Oh, same, same.
Same.
And what I said earlier, like what helped me and my friends also, like my friends who have that similar mindset, that you don't want to be a burden. Personally, I've also felt that before, like, oh, I don't want to bring it up now. Like, it's okay naman eh. Like, I don't want to be a burden pa to someone else. That's why I think I keep reverting back to going to the guidance because that is their job. So you cannot be a burden if that's their job. And also, in terms of your friends, if people like think of yourself, if you love someone, you don't want them to feel like a burden around you. So just view that as you talking to your friends. They love you and they don't want you to feel like a burden. Therefore, they're there also to listen. Yeah.
Okay, I think they need to acquire that kind of mindset that they are not a burden to anyone.
Yeah, of course.
I said that's the last question, Doc Shake, pero meron pa po kasing ano. Pwede pa po ba ng isa?
Yes. Minsan lang ako
Okay,
nasa
Mika ha? Another question. What advice would you give to those who suffered from bullying and lost their self-esteem?
Yeah, for me, you know what? That your strength is inherent with you. Okay? And this is definitely supported by your environmental strength. No? Okay? And definitely, I do hope that, for example, examine yourself. No? What are some of your unhealthy thoughts? No? You think that you are a loser? You think that you are a failure? No? I do hope that that you'll be aware that is it really a fact or is it just an exaggeration? Okay? Because some of the things that really make us a failure is somewhat in the thoughts that we have. Okay? So always remember that I do hope that you can validate your thoughts. No? And always remember that we are not a loser. No? Okay? That we are a gift. We are precious. We are beautiful. No? Okay? And at the same time, after that, I do hope that when you validate that you are not a failure, I do hope that you can rephrase that. I do hope that it will take time, I know, but I do hope that you can rephrase that statement, okay, so that your thoughts can be recalibrated as well. And after that, be aware of your feelings. Okay? For example, you think that you are a failure, and then when I validated that you are not a failure because you only fail in one subject, no, only in a one point of a quiz, so you are not a failure, for example. Okay? And at the same time, after that, you rephrase that. For example, in academics, you rephrase that. No? And you tell that you are not a failure. Okay? And it's just one mistake and you've learned from it. No? And after that, examine your heart. And there will be a better feeling. There will be a calmer feeling. No? And after that, I do hope that you confront it. You go for your action plan to improve it. No? Okay? So if you will have a healthy thoughts, no? Then definitely your heart will follow, your actions will follow, you'll have better decisions, you will have a character strength, and then I do hope no, that you also ask of course, if you have a God with you, that's environmental strength, and then, or your family, your loved ones, your friends, your teachers, your counselors, at the same time, you combine that strength, and that is a strengths-based approach, and after that, persevere to practice that, and you will have what you call the strength. And you will not be a failure.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, Doc Shake, no, it should be a self-examination and recalibrating our thoughts into positive thoughts, like talking to yourself with encouragement and kindness, no, and the strength base that what did you say earlier, Doc? Parang yan ang gusto kong maging maging talk mo next time.
Actually, in the strengths-based approach, you
Strength-based approach.
you have your inherent strength, which is what they call your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior, and character, and you combine it with your environmental strength, your God, your parents, your school, no, your community, and then after that, you combine it, okay, and you will be integrated and add the purposeful effort to learn, no, and build your knowledge, your skills, your values and attitude, and you will have the superpower to face a problem.
And then we become super women.
Yeah.
Just
Women
a joke. But maybe
empowerment.
we can, yes, women empowered, no?
Yeah.
And we can ask for a talk from you for that particular topic, Doc Shake. How about you, Mika?
I like what Doc Shake was saying, and I do think that that's something that does take time, as she mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not like every day. I mean, it's not like one day you'll wake up and just tell yourself, "No, I'm not a failure," because realistically, you're not. I think that through, as we were just highlighting earlier, like self-compassion, it can work. And also, what helps me personally when I feel like my inner thoughts, my self-talk is too negative, I just remind myself, like, life is long. I'm not going to be in the same spot forever. And that it's okay. Like, it's okay to grow. It's okay to change. I'm going through a rough patch right now where I don't feel good about myself. That's okay. Like, through practice and over time, it can get better, and it's not the end.
And I guess we should remind ourselves to know that life is a gift, that we should always celebrate and be grateful for every day. Diba? There's always a reason to be happy. There's always a reason to be positive and to be able to reach out to other people. Right? Okay. By this, kasi pa yung ibang question, somehow ay na-answer na natin. Sige. I would like to include our students, no? Our student hosts, Rain and Felicia. How are you? Can you spotlight them po, sir? Rain or Felicia, what are your takeaways, no, with this talk, no, so far? I want your mind about it. Have you been learning so many things with our speakers, Doc Shake and Mika, Mika? Rain, will you answer? What are you learning from them now?
I think today was really inspiring, most especially because we both got insights from a professional and also from someone who could relate to the econ community as well. So I think it was like a really good balance of, trying to save this message for the school year and to the upcoming school years as well. And even though anti-bullying is, something that's always been there, it's also really great to constantly remind ourselves about, the values that go with these, the lessons that come with them, because even with how much awareness is being given to issues today, we still evolve these problems into like different kinds of cases. Like, for example, when Achimiko was talking about how even she didn't know that she was part of one, and we never really know that we partake in bullying until we think about it ourselves. So I think it was a really good and inspiring talk that would greatly benefit the eco community today, especially with everything being virtual and cyberbullying and all. So yeah.
Thank you, Rain, for that learning, for that sharing. How about you, Felicia? Felicia happens to be my student, Doc Shake and Mika, since grade 7 yan. So would you like to give them a sample of your song, of whatever?
I don't think right now.
Okay, sige. Just give me your learning. Share with us.
I think it was like really amazing to see anti-bullying from different perspectives. So like Achi I can call you Achi, right? Achi, Mika, we see it from inside, so like Ika perspective, and then we have Doc Shake, who is talking to us about anti-bullying outside of Ika. So we get to see it from inside and outside, which is very amusing. And as someone who who has a strong stand on like caring for people, supporting people, and helping people, Ikans, this talk really inspired me to just keep on going with also helping people. And another thing, as Doc Shake said a while ago, you hope to be like that role model, and you have a person here who's seeing you as a role model now. So thank you for the talk.
Nice,
it was
Felicia.
amazing. I learned a lot, and well, I found a new idol.
Wow, that happens to be Doc Shake, my dear. And Achi Mika, of course. Thank you so much, Rain and Felicia, and that ends the Q&A portion. Thank you so much, Doc Shake and Mika, for those ang ganda, napakalalim na kwentuhan. We learned so much with you this morning.
Thank you too, dear. Thank you.
Thank you all. This was so nice.
At this point, may I call on Mrs. Jethrin Smile Flahenshaw, the high school guidance supervisor, to present the e-certificates to our guest speakers. Yay!
Thank you so much, Felicia and Rain. Let me just share my screen. And once again, thank you so much to Doc Shake, to Mika, and of course to Pedia Pharma for being with us today. You have no idea how much we enjoyed today's talk show. We were just so relaxed in listening to all the sharings. So let me just read the citation. So Immaculate Conception Academy Green Hills High School Department would like to award the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Sheila Marie Hodgson, RGC, RP, RPM, to Ms. Micaela Angeline Acero, and of course to Pedia Pharma Foundation Philippines Incorporated, in recognition of their invaluable contribution as resource speakers and our partner in the talk entitled ICAnited Against Bullying, as part of ICA's 85th founding anniversary celebration held at Immaculate Conception Academy Green Hills, San Juan City on September 17, 2021. Signed by yours truly, Mrs. Catherine Joyce Wayang, High School Principal, and Sister Irene N. Ferrer, MIC President. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you once again to our dear speakers. So, Econs, before we end this talk, we would like to remind all of you to answer the online evaluation form, which will be posted by your respective advisors in the chat box.
We would also like to remind those who have a scheduled unit test this afternoon to be on time for the exam. And good luck! Thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of the day. Keep safe, everyone.
That was so nice. You guys are so galing.
Congratulations! Ang galing,
Yes.
Felicia and Ray.